Hi Scorpio, this is Mimi with Divination by Mimi. Welcome to your March 1st through the 15th, 2018 tarot reading with a little bit of astrology. Um, if you haven't subscribed, please do. I would love it if you did. That way we can keep an open dialogue going and you can check your signs on your sign on a regular basis and check the signs of those that you love or maybe that you don't love. All right, so let's start with the first and second. There's a full moon in Virgo that's on the 1st or the 2nd, depending upon where you live. And this full moon in Virgo invites us to consider the connection between mind and spirit and body. Are they connected for you? And there's no right or wrong answer in this. It's a very optimistic full moon. So you're not being a test. There's no right or wrong answer. The only thing it's asking you to do is to consider this connection. Is it connected at all? And then honor whatever your answer is. So, you might ask, do I feel that do I believe in a mind, body, spirit triangle to begin with? Maybe it's just, to me, it's just mind and body. Okay. So if it's just mind and body, is your mind divorced from your body? Meaning, are you all in your head? Scorpio, that's usually not the case. You tend to live a nice balance between the two, but all aspects considered and personal upbringing and life experiences considered, that can be changed. So ask yourself the question, am I living in my body? And am I employing intellect in my body? What does it mean when they're balanced? Or spirit as well, all three. What does it mean when all three are equally involved with each other? Because Virgo has to do with the body. It rules the 6th house. It has to do with health and hygiene. But it's Virgo as in virgin, as in whole unto oneself. Meaning from the 1st house to the 6th house, thinking of it as like a child growing up. This is the point where you have made the confirmation and determination that you, in the 6th house, in Virgo, are an individual, a spiritual, intellectual, and physical individual, whole unto yourself, which is an absolute opposite to where the sun is in Pisces, 180 degrees across the sky or across the natal chart. And with those two differences, so in other words, the 12th house, if we're looking at the lifespan of a person's soul contract, the 12th house is where we start to disintegrate back into the collective whole, whereas the 6th house is about actually making the confirmation and affirmation that I'm an autonomous person separate from the whole. And both are true, but both are true, if that makes sense. So with the sun being there, highlighting the self in the 12th, reflecting off of the moon in the 6th, remember that's what a full moon does. It reflects the light of the sun at 180 degrees with two opposite energies. It's inviting you, this full moon is inviting you to say, okay, if I do believe in mind, body, spirit, are they all together? Are they blended? Do I identify more with one than the other? Because there is that balance that we need to keep as we're learning through Earth School, as Isabel Hickey calls it. Okay, this is that meaning Earth School being our soul's education on this incarnation, in this particular soul contract. I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's get into some other aspects for you, Scorpio. Your ruling planet's Pluto. You rule the 8th house. Your co-ruler is Mars. It's really your old ruler. But Mars is still identified with Scorpio. You're a fixed sign, and you're obviously water. And the 8th house, your rulership, is about, well, commonly known as sex, death, and other people's money, but it's very deep-seated things. It's the shadow world. It's the stuff that very often gets ignored and repressed, but is there and never goes away, and if it's not addressed, manifests itself in some other way, sometimes in a way that causes friction and causes you to learn. Energy never goes away. It just moves and changes form, right? So thankfully, we have Scorpio to help the rest of us investigate and understand that part that we don't always like to look at, because Scorpio is not afraid to look at it. You guys are fearless when it comes to self-investigation. Investigation of others' motivations, but self-investigation too. So it's a very important sign. That said, Pluto at the moment is in Capricorn. That's the 10th house. On the 2nd, in addition to this full moon I mentioned, your ruling planet, Pluto, in Capricorn is making a trine with that full moon in Virgo. A trine is a harmonious conversation. So these are two parties that are getting along. Again, Pluto kind of about digging up the stuff that's not seen, kind of unconscious. And the moon is definitely about the unconscious. So this conversation with the 10th house, Capricorn's rulership, and the conversation with the full moon in Virgo, rulership of the individual before they go out into the world, ruler of the 6th house, is a conversation that's going to possibly have you thinking, and us on the macrocosm, because as above, so below, as within, so without. It's going to have us looking at, in our personal lives perhaps, the emotions and the unconscious feelings that motivate us that are in Virgo at the moment, and they have to do generally with health, the body, possibly occupation in the world too, all that the 6th house represents. Whatever we're discussing in Capricorn, we're doing it practically. Well, this discussion we're having with the full moon in Virgo will be a practical discussion. It will be a usable, applicable discussion in the real world. Okay? So that energy is very good. That conversation is very good. And again, it makes it very positive and an easy conversation for that initial question of this full moon being, how do I make the connection between my body, my mind, and my spirit? Or do I? Okay. Moving on to the 4th. The moon at this point will be in Libra, out of Virgo. It's going to make a square with your ruling planet Pluto in Capricorn. A square is a difficult conversation. And these are kind of different vibes. When the moon has moved into 7th house Libra, it's ruled by Venus, Libra, and this is about discussing how other people feel. In considering the other. The 7th house is relationships. It's about the consideration of the other to get along, right? So that we can make friends and make coupledom and get along with other people. When it makes a square to Pluto in Capricorn, I think what we're looking at here is a difficult conversation or consideration of those deep-seated things being hidden, being repressed, and very likely by the powers that be. So one other thing that the 10th house, Capricorn's house, represents is very large, long-term institutions, such as the government, businesses, things like that. So we might be looking at with that Pluto, with your ruling planet, Pluto being in Capricorn, right? Looking at the unseen things that motivate the power structures, making this difficult conversation with the moon in Libra, energizing the sense of the 7th house Libra, remember the scales or justice. We might see some things on the world stage that manifests itself as possibly the collective connecting emotionally and reacting emotionally to some things that have been discovered about our power structures, things we may not like. Things that have been long hidden but needed to come to light. I hope that made sense. That is on the 4th. On the 6th, and I'm really sorry, I'll try to make this a little faster. On the 6th, the moon is making a sextile with, again, your ruling planet Pluto and Saturn, Capricorn rather. And a sextile just means that it is, at that point in time, it would be in Scorpio, I think. No, at that point in time, it will have been, yeah, it will have gone to Scorpio. And that actually makes a nice conversation because Pluto would be considered a water planet as it rules Scorpio. It shares that element with the moon being in Scorpio at that time. So it's a harmonious conversation. It's not as beautiful as a trine, but it's an energy that is pleasant and productive, if that makes sense. What are we moving on to here? The 11th, we have the sun in Pisces, making a sextile as well to Pluto in Capricorn. And again, that is the sun being about the self, or the will of the self, in Pisces, which is kind of a watery, the 12th house kind of collectivism, okay? Making a harmonious conversation, again, not quite a trine, but a productive and harmonious conversation in that of a sextile, with Pluto in Capricorn. So meaning that you might find as well that you're able to address some things about yourself and about how you project your will into the world, into the things that have to do with the 10th house. Again, it could be large institutions, or it could be your will and how you're perceived by others as a reputation, right? Your status. So, you know, this energy could have you being productive in processing information so that you could grow and accomplish more in life and in your personal life. And then lastly, on the 12th, we have got the moon, and we'll have moved into Capricorn at this point, and will be conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. So the 12th is going to be a key day because, remember, conjunctions are within 10 degrees. So it means both energies, or both planets, the attributes of them are powered up by each other. So what are the attributes of Pluto? Pluto being the underworld, the lord of the underworld, transformation, things like that. In the 10th house, having to do with either status and reputation in the world, or large institutions. Being powered up by the moon, which is again also about the unconscious, also in the 10th house. So again, that day, it might have a lot on the microcosm to do with you as you relate to large institutions, possibly where you work, possibly a court case that you're dealing with. And on top of that, in the macrocosm, it could have something to do with more power structures being reevaluated, more stuff coming to light, changes possibly being made, with Pluto being a transformative planet. So interesting. And I forgot to mention on the 8th that Jupiter, the expansive planet in your constellation, will be going retrograde. And what that means basically is, with Scorpio being about the 8th house, about repressed things, things that are being considered, with Jupiter's expansive, illuminating energy, it has been bringing things to light that have long been hidden and needed to come to light. When it goes retrograde, it's now taking that information and considering it. So it's kind of like let's say on the macrocosm, we find out that a huge banking institution has been erroneously charging people, illegally charging people for certain types of fees, or setting up business models that unfairly favor the business versus the person or the individual that they're transacting with. Well, now that we've considered and we've illuminated that information with Jupiter in the 8th house in Scorpio, now with Jupiter going retrograde, it's a time for us to consider, okay, now what are we going to do about that? Are we going to hold them accountable? Are we going to make them change their processes and fine them? Or are we going to bring them to jail? Like, is there going to be a penal response to this? So that will be an interesting time as well. I'm so sorry. I went on a long time about the astrology, Scorpio. So let's get into your reading. This is the Gilded Tarot by Cyril Marchetti. It's based on Rider-Waite-Smith, and this is a 4-card pull based upon some situation in your life. So something that you're focusing on, that your energy is focused on. And it's a general reading, so it may not resonate. If it doesn't, maybe check your ascendant sign or your moon sign. If you don't know what those are, as long as you know where you were born, the time you were born, as well as the date, of course, you can find that at Astro Cafe. If you Google that, you'll find a website. So this is for Scorpio. Fixed water. Ruler of the 8th house. What does Scorpio need to know for March 1st through the 15th, 2018? Holy Hecate. What does Scorpio need to know for March 1st through the 15th, 2018? What energy are they sitting in? What concerns do they have? Thank you. Queen of Swords. This could be a Libran energy. This could be your energy or someone else's. Positive aspect. Your card in reverse. This is the Scorpio card. It's the fixed. Kings are fixed. It's the King of Cups. And fixed water sign is you, Scorpio. Negative aspect is the end of fighting. 5 of Wands. Overall advice is the Fool in the upright. So the only two cards in the upright are where you are currently and Spirit's overall advice. And the Fool is major arcana. So the overall advice I would really heed because that is karmic lessons. So this energy here, this is the Queen of Swords. Just looking at it at face value, it's in the upright. It is the Libra card. Queens are cardinal and air swords, and the Libra is the cardinal air sign. This is the queen that cuts through the bullshit. This is the queen that she's kind of heard it all before. She's heard all the bullshit before. She can smell bullshit a mile away. This is the energy where she's like, don't come at me with bullshit. Don't insult my intelligence. Okay? So this is where you are right now. This is the way you're thinking right now. The positive aspect is your energy on the low octave. So, or you not employing scorpionic energy. I have to say that, I have to think that this is your energy because it's the Scorpio card and it came up in the positive aspect. So either the positive aspect is that you are employing some of the more aggressive aspects of Scorpio, which can be a slight manipulation. Like, for example, if this person has been coming at you with bullshit and you're 100% keen on it, 100% aware of it, you may be playing games with them right back and they're completely unaware. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Kind of feels like that's what you're doing. It's kind of like, okay, I'll play your game. You don't know how good I am at playing your game, but I'll play your game. So this person's coming at you, you smell the bullshit, but you're enjoying the play at the moment. Yeah, you're that's what I'm getting from this, is that it's like you're having fun with it. The negative aspect of it is you should be addressing it. So as much fun as it is, it can be kind of fun if somebody comes to you and they're full of shit and they're nefarious in their intentions and you know it and you've got a good handle on it. It's kind of fun to puppet them, to kind of lead them by the nose through their own bullshit. But the negative aspect of this is you kind of delaying the confrontation that really needs to happen. In other words, I understand why you want to do this because it's a lot more fun, but what you really need to do is say, fuck you. And that's what the Five of Wands is about. So you're just delaying the inevitable. Enjoy it. I totally get it. I would want to do it too. I have some aspects in the 8th house too, so I really enjoy this kind of shit too. It's very fun to play with someone who deserves it. Overall advice is coming back to 0, meaning enjoy the play, okay, enjoy the fun, but eventually you will have to address it. Eventually you will have to say, fuck you, or punch him in the face, or whatever. However, however you reasserting yourself in the dynamic after the play is over manifests itself, if it is a fuck you, or if it is a punch in the face, or if it is a you're fired, or if it is a we're divorcing, whatever it is, you are going to have to confront it eventually. It feels actually like that. Now that I'm getting it, it feels kind of like you have a partner who's cheated on you or something like that. They're lying to you. And they think they're getting one up on you, but this is you right here going, oh, really? Okay, let's go along with it. Like I was saying earlier. And you're starting to employ that lower, not lower, I don't want to say lower because it's just all part, that part of Scorpio that isn't always the highest octave. It's not Buddha-like, but, again, mind-body connection. We're experiencing a physical experience right now, right? Where you're kind of going, okay, well, let's play along for a while, and you enjoy leading them by the nose. You will have to make the connection, but it feels like eventually when you do say, fuck you, pack your shit, get out of the house, we're done, that Spirit is saying, okay, now start fresh. Start fresh at 0. Don't hold on to what happened here. Because remember, they didn't get to take advantage of you. You were keen to it. You were very aware of it. Right? and you played them along. You let them play their little game, and you enjoyed the puppeting, and then you led them by the nose, and then you let them have it. So they didn't really get one up on you. So don't take this experience as all people are like this, because by this point in time in your love life, you have come to the point where you not only are you able to smell bullshit, but it's like, and you're not only able to smell bullshit, but you're also not willing to put up with bullshit. But you've actually evolved enough, whoever this is for, evolved enough in your life to not even attract this kind of person in your life anymore, because you've set up boundaries. And that all has to do with your feelings about yourself, that you're worth. So when Spirit is advising you here, that when you do just make the decision to move on to the next thing, move on to your next love, keep your heart open, keep your eyes and your wonderment about you open. Remember, the Fool is the new soul born into the world for a new experience, right? A new cycle. Allow yourself to experience it with what you've learned. Okay? I hope that makes sense. It's kind of a dichotomy that fate throws at you, in that, okay, you've learned all this shit. I've put you through all this so that you could understand when someone's BSing you and putting you through something. Now I'm going to tell you to be aware of it, love yourself and forget it, and keep an open mind when you meet the next person. Well, that ain't easy, because, you know, the Fool, this picture doesn't show it, but the Fool has a little pack on his back. Most of us carry around like a full rucksack with blankets and cooking utensils and a change of boots and a change of clothes and a tent and everything. The Fool has a very small little packet, a little dog, and he's ready to jump off the cliff. He's ready to jump into something new. So even though it would be natural that you would take all that you've learned in your heavy laden rucksack, you're being called to say, no, start anew, start afresh. So weird and frustrating. I'm so sorry. Yours went on only, 22 minutes. I will leave it at that. Scorpio, if you have any questions about this reading, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below, or comment. It's a general reading. I hope it applied. It seemed to have been for someone specifically. If you'd like a personal reading, please email me at memes@hotmail.com. You'll find that email address in the description box below the video, along with my pricing. If I don't see you for the lunations, I will then see you for your reading the next half of the month. I wish you the very best, Scorpio. You take care.